Friday the 13th, January 2023. Every year I think they can't make glasses out of the incoming year, and every year I'm proven wrong. We will be 3 years removed from one of the most devastating, soul-crushing, life-changing events in human history. Feels like it's getting back to what once was and what will ever be. 7-Eleven, approximately 12 miles from destination. Ding. The fluorescent light gives off an intimidating aura. No matter, spirits are high, friends are waiting, and Takis are sitting on a shelf to be destroyed. See, grab some dip too, Shell says as we split up after entering the store. Her name is Michelle, but we've all called her Shell for as long as I can remember. I put a thumbs up as I walked down the aisle, hoping she'd see it. I was on a mission, and we could not waste precious time talking. We only had an hour before the party started, as my friends and I referred to Michelle as Shell, she, and the rest referred to me as Z. My actual name is December. I know, you probably don't know too many Decembers, besides the month. As a child though, I was the most active, involved in everything from dance, volleyball, ballet, chess, drama, and competitive drinking. I can't remember exactly how the joke started, but I was referred to as having Zazz. I can't disagree, so my friends shortened it to Z for short, and it stuck. My duty had been fulfilled. Takis, dip, and some more drinks. I meet Shell at about the same time, right at the counter. She had retrieved her part. Mission successful. I gave the clerk a closed-mouth smile, exchanged pleasantries, and reached into my back pocket, retrieving my debit card. "Where you ladies headed? Little girl's night out in the city," the 7-Eleven employee spoke. The smell of stale cigarettes became even stronger when her mouth opened. Gnarly yellow teeth and those off-putting stress lines surrounded her lips. Don't get me wrong, she seemed very nice, but a little strange. I looked at Shell briefly before returning my attention to the clerk, whose name tag said Di. I shook my head, cleared my eyes. Diane. Okay, that was weird. I once again put that stressful closed-mouth smile on. Oh, no. Well, yes, well, okay, take a deep breath, Z. We are going to a party. But no, not in the city. Yes, we're going out. Actually, only a few miles away from here. We were both so happy to see a store around. Thought it was all country out here. And with that, I started to pay for our food and prepared to say goodbye forever to this 7-Eleven and Diane. As she asked me if I wanted a receipt, I started to shake my head no. So where are you going? She asked, head down, looking at the receipt printer. It took me a second. Kind of rude to just pry into my personal life. Again, I looked at Shell. Her face said, I don't know, grab your receipt, or don't, and let's go. For some reason I told her, I stumbled. Well, we're going to a friend's house. As I was speaking, I decided it probably wasn't a good idea to say exactly where we were going. Not like she was going to follow us or anything, but why take that chance? It's just a place in the woods, miss. You actually have to go by the old mill to get there. This lady's eyes widened slightly. I swear I could see a glossy sheen coat them, along with a slight shake. If you're going to drive by the mill, flash your lights as many times as you can before you pass it. Shell accidentally let out a snort and then quickly covered her mouth with both hands. I knew it was accidental when I saw her eyes. I gave her a look that said, please don't make this weird, let's just get out of here. I kindly smiled at the clerk. I grabbed our purchases while Shell was still holding her face and looking dumb. I gave her a slight push, meeting her eyes with mine, eyebrows raised as if to say get to it. Shell understood without saying anything and grabbed one of the bags. I reached for the remaining items on the counter, but before I could, a sinewy white hand grabbed my wrist with such force. It sent pain waves through my arm. I let out an automatic hey before being pulled down toward the counter. I was yanked down with such force that my chin almost struck it. I raised my eyes, now staring directly at Diane. She lowered herself behind her side of the counter to meet my eye line. I'm trying to help you, this psycho said. Get off of, I tried spitting out before this apparent She-Hulk in hiding, retching my wrist even harder. Flash your lights when you get close. Flash your lights before you get to the mill. And with that, she released her grip. I instinctively moved backward, getting away from this freak while also grabbing my wrist. That really hurt. I looked at Shell. Who knows what that whole thing just looked like to her. Let's go. I motioned toward the door. Shell didn't say a word. As we entered our vehicle, she finally opened her mouth, laughing in a sarcastic yet realistic manner. After what I just went through, I couldn't tell if she was laughing out of nervousness or what. I could tell she was freaked out, as I was. After a few seconds I joined her in releasing a few cathartic chuckles. Holy shit Z, I'm sorry, are you okay? I took a moment. I looked at my wrist, red, but not broken or anything. I looked back at the 7-Eleven. I didn't see anyone behind the counter. I didn't wait to see if Psycho Barry would come back. I'm fine. Throw the stuff in the back. We only have a few minutes. Drive to the party. Approaching the old mill. Approximately 4 minutes from destination. The car ride from our Twilight Zone appearance at the 7-Eleven has been silent. Shell mainly swiped up and down and left to right on her phone. I put Sirius XM channel 9 on. After nothing but silence, Shell almost blew my eardrums off. Shit Z, the mill. Did we pass it yet? First off, ouch, as I rubbed my right ear sarcastically, and no, we are close though, maybe a mile. The sign said the historic mill is coming up about 1 mile. That was about a mile ago. Shell's eyes popped. Dude, start flashing the lights. Didn't you hear what Di said? I laughed, not meaning to look at my still throbbing wrist. I'm not going to take part in some country urban legend. You don't believe that, do you? I looked at Shell with that last part. She wasn't laughing. She wasn't smiling. I couldn't see 1 centimeter of white. Her lips were closed too tight. Oh, here you go, I said. It's the star of the night. An old white building, presumably built around the early 1800s, was approaching on our right. Although it had been dark for some time, the old mill was eerily visible. Maybe it was the white paint being illuminated by the moon, which was itself eerily full. I hope it's not a full moon on top of all this tonight. The mill part was a dark, evil circle pasted against the all-white ancient building, where it used to churn, brining hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, of gallons of water into the mill to help make whatever they made back then. Or perhaps it was just to create electricity. I shook my head. I realized I had kind of daydreamed in that half second upon seeing the mill. I looked at Shell. She was still waiting for an answer on flashing the lights. Here's flashing my lights, I said. With it I slowly extended my right arm. My left remained on the steering wheel. I closed my fist. As I gave a sly peek to Shell, my middle finger extended. Flipping the bird immediately broke the tension. Shell snorted, buried her head in her lap, then sat back, flipping her hair behind her. She extended both arms, and both middle fingers along with me. Oh, nice, always showing me you. What's wrong? Shell said. I was just follow. Silence, a truck is coming up behind us. I said quietly. Now all middle fingers were securely placed back in their holsters. So, either let them pass or speed up, Shell said with her trademark optimism. Have you seen any other cars on the road tonight? I have not. Just weird, that's all. I diverted my focus from the road ahead of me to the rear view. Road ahead. Rear view. I was hoping our destination was close, but the GPS just happened to lose signal. Not uncommon around here, but... He's throwing his high beams on, I said. Shell looked in her side mirror to confirm. Oh, no, this isn't. She couldn't continue her statement. The truck was now within a car length, lights aggressively going from on to off to brights to off and back on again, and then the horn started. I was immediately struck by some kind of Texas chainsaw vibe for some reason. For whatever reason, I sped up. The truck kept pace. Shell was freaking out. I was freaking out. Dude, just pull over, let him go. She pleaded with me. Again, for some reason I felt safer just moving forward. No doubt we missed our destination. I didn't care. Bang. Holy shit, he hit us. Shell screamed. Yes, I'm aware, babe, I said, internally screaming but trying to save us from this absolute nutbag. Who knows what their intentions are? I hit the gas again, and again the truck followed suit. The brights were flashing so fast it seemed like a human could not be capable of doing that manually. Shell started crying. I literally put the accelerator to the floor. It didn't do much. The vehicle behind us was going to rear-end us again, and this time it won't be so gentle, except it didn't. All at once, the headlights following us became smaller and smaller. It had stopped and reversed. Quickly, not knowing what in the hell to make of this, I violently pulled over, mashing the brake with both feet. We skidded to a dangerous stop on the side of the road. I looked at Shell. Dust and dirt followed the car at our sudden stop. Do you think this is because we didn't flash? Destination arrived. Shell and I both looked at my phone stuck to the dashboard. I looked outside. Sure enough, this was the party we had both been invited to. I think the other girls were invited too. Come to think of it, I forgot exactly who was hosting, just wanted to get out for the night. Well, I guess we should just go in then, Shell said with absolutely no confidence. Look, I said. I grabbed an item from the back. I'll admit, that was all pretty freaking weird, but I'm not gonna let that ruin this. You with me, old girl? I smiled at Shell and it seemed to work. She smiled back. I pulled a seltzer off of one of the 6-packs we grabbed and ripped the tab off of the top. Clear sticky alcohol exploded onto both of us. When the moment cleared, we both started dying laughing. The reckless driving probably shook these up a bit, I said, and that just got us rolling again. We made our way toward the front door. Totally normal looking house. Cars scattered about the lawn and driveway. Back to normal. Wishful thinking. The door was open. Wide open. Only a faint yellow glow emanated from what looked like the dining room, about 20 or so feet away. I looked at Shell. What do you think this is? Some kind of joke? She said. I kind of hear music. Don't you? I stopped for a second, putting my arm out to also halt Shell. We both put our heads down, concentrating. We heard a loud ring. We both jumped, now grasping each other without knowing. I'm surprised our skin is intact. Did you hear a phone? I asked. She nodded. There was no follow-up ring. As soon as we both moved, more ringing. Okay, what the? You should have just done it. A whisper from behind us almost knocked us both to the ground in fear. Quickly turning around, we saw nothing. Okay, I've seen enough horror stories to know when to get the F out, I said. Where are all the people? There's like 20 cars outside, Shell added. Who cares? I don't want to find out the answer. With that, I dropped the 7-Eleven bag, as did Shell. I grabbed her hand and started back toward the front door, which was now shut. I don't remember either of us shutting it. Something was written on the door in red. A sickening feeling painted my entire body. Do you see that? Shell said with a shaky voice. I indeed saw it. Not wanting to admit it, we moved forward until the letters were readable. In big letters, spray painted red, hopefully spray paint, was the following. You should have just followed the one rule. Happy Friday the 13th. Thank you to my superfans, Sweet Black Swan, Tacy, and Brooklyn. I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel, and I look forward to making more content for everyone.